Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame. My name is Bill Matz. I am your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity Mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck? How'd you like that nice 4-3 shootout win on what, somehow they scored 4, but I think they only had 2 shots on goal.
William, my heart is still racing. I am so excited about that thrilling Flyers victory. What a game.
It was. This team is absolutely ridiculous. Now, listen, I am not super excited about beating a Crosby and Malkinless Pittsburgh team at this point in the season in a shootout. Other than it's cool to see Zegras get to go in a shootout. He's wild. But there were some cool things that happened tonight, Charlie.
Oh, absolutely.
We get Alex Bump's first goal. We get the Barkey from Michkov goal. Tippett is at 20 goals for the 4th straight year. We're going to talk about that. That's actually kind of an impressive feat for a Philadelphia Flyer. I guess it's good to always beat the Penguins, but we're just at the point of what does any of this actually mean?
Well, I think that's a little harsh. Like this was an ugly game to watch, to be sure. This was not a fun hockey game. The Penguins had more stretches of fun when they were controlling play than the Flyers did, but honestly, the Penguins were choppy too. It was a choppy game. The Flyers were clearly playing a defensively oriented style. They weren't taking many risks. They were protecting the house, and they weren't really doing much of anything with the puck. So off the bat, boring game. But I hesitate to say, like, well, what's the point of all this? Like, the point of all this is Denver Barkey and Matvei Michkov developing chemistry. The point of all of this is Alex Bump scoring a goal in his first NHL game. The point of all of this is Trevor Zegras playing center. Trevor Zegras scoring shootout goals. So there were things in this game that I think are worthwhile. It's just that I guess the overarching win aspect of it is kind of like, well, I guess they're sort of still in the playoff race, but does anybody actually believe they're going to make it? Really,
that's
nobody.
The things you mentioned and that I mentioned as well, like overwhelmingly good, like them, like the guys who scored, the people who made plays tonight, all that is cool. It's just, I guess, the overarching, what's the point? I'm talking about the 2 points. Now, listen, if it's because Alex Bump and Denver Barkey make the team better, I guess that's a good sign. Like, it's just, I've kind of resigned to, let's try to get a top 10 pick in here. And it feels like that's not going to be possible without extraordinary Islanders like lottery luck. And they won from 10th. Last time we did Tankathon, which was the last game, the Flyers had the 14th best odds. So, like, the highest they can get is 4th. That said, there were a lot of cool things that happened tonight. We're going to get to a bunch of them. But I got to tell you all right now, as I see people pile into the show, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. We've had a bunch of new viewers over the last few weeks. A lot of people joined us for the trade deadline show yesterday. Very thankful. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. So much content, not just the daily shows, but Charlie with videos almost every day at practice, breaking down what's going on. We do episodes of the shootout, which is like a bonus content for you. So much great stuff. And of course, we have a podcast as well. Follow that. A couple of numbers here for you, Chuck. First, the Flyers allow the first goal for the 42nd time in 62 games. It's unbelievable that they're able to allow the first goal this much and be an over 500 team the way they have, and their record in the games where they give up the first goal ain't bad. It's just the first period should be, for us, for me and you, who have to watch every single game. We can't bail. It's our careers. Boo-hoo us. The first period should be 10 minutes, and the Flyers should just be down 1-0. That's what we should do. And we should fast forward basically to the third when the game is tied, and then we will see if it goes to overtime in a shootout. Most overtime games this year, the Wild and the Kings have each played 23. The Golden Knights have played 22. The Flyers have now tied the Canadiens for third in the league with 21. Their 10th shootout of the season. They tie the Kings for most in the NHL as well. These numbers could change. I don't know who is and isn't playing tonight. I didn't look up that much. But 10 shootouts, 21 overtime games, ridiculous. And now they have 7 shootout wins, tied for their franchise record in a season with 2016-17, which is shocking, quite honestly. I thought this was going to blow it away by double already. But my final note in the instant reactions, Chuck, is this team's ridiculous. And they just are. They go to overtime every night. They go to a shootout 1 out of 6, basically. This is just an overtime team. Is that what we can call them? They've only played 1-goal games.
Yeah, and that's by design. Partially it's by roster design, partially it's by coaching design. Rick Tocchet has them playing a tight-checking, defensively oriented style. Now, it's not accurate to say that they only play dump and chase. I track entry data for every single game, usually in real time. They are a more dump-ins than carry-ins team, but it's not like so skewed to such a ridiculous way that like they are breaking records. I have them at a little over 45% controlled entry rate, which is lower than Torts, but it's higher than Elaine Vigneault's teams. So like, yeah, they're a dump and chase team. It's not extreme. Really what it boils down to is they are extreme, in terms of the way they play in the defensive zone. They really focus on protecting against backdoor plays, protecting against high danger chances. And because of that, they don't have the puck a lot. Then on the offensive side, they don't really cheat much. So they're not getting transition chances. They actually, as I said, they carry the puck in enough, but the carry-ins aren't rush chances. They're just carry-ins without a ton of speed. So they're not really creating much right off of that. So by design, from a coaching standpoint, this team isn't going to score a lot, but also as long as the goaltenders aren't playing terribly, they're not going to give up a lot. So that's by design. The other aspect is they have a lot of players on this team that just aren't dynamic. Now, they do have some really good players in terms of raw talent. Obviously, Trevor Zegras. Obviously, Matvei Michkov. They are missing Travis Konechny right now. That's true. They're definitely missing him. He would add an element of dynamic play and speed to this team that they are missing. But they do have some guys who can, Owen Tippett, when he's playing well, can do the same. But then they have a lot of guys who are kind of black holes of creativity. And they're taking up a lot of the spaces on this roster. And when they're on the ice, there's very little chance that the Flyers are going to create anything. That also leads to low scoring games. It also leads to overtime games and eventually leads to shootout games as well.
Yeah, Charlie, I just want to, because we talked pregame, they are without Travis Konechny, and that's why I wanted to highlight what they have done in these 3 games without him. We have talked like, hey, TK is really good, but if he's your leading scorer, there's a chance your team isn't great. If he's your second or third best player, there's a chance you're a really good team. But I tracked I just went back and looked up, didn't track anything. Flyers shot totals by period this month. They have had a double-digit shot period once this month in 3 games. At Toronto, the first period, they had 14 shots on goal. They have their next highest total is 8. The second period tonight, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 9 full periods. They have been 5 or fewer shots on goal. I know shot volume isn't what it was, and maybe Corsi and Fenwick aren't the way to really show what a team is doing. But if you never shoot, how do you ever score?
Okay, well, one thing I will say is that there's 2 factors at play here. Number one is that it is objectively true that Rick Tocchet teams do not shoot. Or let me rephrase. They don't get a ton of shots on goal. They tend to be a shot quality team. He's trying to push them to take more point shots. But generally speaking, Tocchet runs what he calls the piston offense. And the idea of the piston offense is you have guys, firing off into the slot areas to make themselves available for passes and chances. So they're not necessarily burning possessions by just throwing it from anywhere the way the Carolina Hurricanes do. That is number one. Number 2, though, and look, there's already a low baseline because Tocchet teams don't take a lot of shots. But also, this is absolutely getting exasperated by this ridiculous tracking style they are doing.
Oh,
in the
tonight
NHL.
Was silly.
Like
tonight was
the Flyers, and I'm not saying they were great offensive in it. They should have been over 20 shots. Like they should have easily there were so many where you're like, well, it's obviously a shot, right? And then 3 minutes later, it's gone. Like this is getting ridiculous in terms of like, and it's all because of sports betting. It's because they got they got the casinos involved, and now people can bet on shots on goal for individual players and for teams. So they're like, well, if the goalie caught it, but it was going wide, I guess it's not a shot on goal. Like at some point, like this is ridiculous. If you have to like decide what the launch angle was, like this isn't baseball, like just to see whether it would have like glanced off the post or not. That's a little insane, but Taka teams do tend to have low shot on goal totals. This dates back to his time in Arizona. So it's kind of like it's an issue that the Taka teams have, that's getting exacerbated by this insane NHL tracking thing that's been going on the last couple of years.
There was a stoppage at 9:59. So at 10:01 into the third period, the Flyers had no shots on goal. Through the 50 minutes, one Flyer had more than one shot on goal, and it was Travis Sanheim with 2. Drysdale got the first Flyer shot of the third with 8:35 left. They've had 25 or fewer shots in 9 straight. I realize the whole league is trending towards shot quality, and without Travis Konechny, they're very much missing a dynamic offensive piece. But like, I don't know how you can win. Okay, they had a few taken away from them in the first, but they had 2 in the first. All right, maybe they had 5. That's still really bad. Like, that's still not nearly enough. I don't care if the only shots you want to take are breakaways. Like, it has to be that great of a scoring chance. You need more than 2 in a period. You need more than 5 in a period, quite honestly. That's all I really wanted to talk about in this first segment. Just how ridiculous this team is in terms of shot creation and the amount of times they go to overtime. On the other side, we're going to have tonight's game changer. We're going to talk about the guy who debuted. Stay tuned, because that was the coolest part of the game. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep your Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's already online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is, of course, included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock your price in and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. It's just about a month and a half away. My wife and I are heading to Italy for a destination wedding. We cannot wait. We have been saving up, and you might know I'm not the most financially responsible, but managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year if you've got Monarch. Monarch is my go-to finance app. It's built to make you proactive, not just reactive. It's the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. You can see exactly where your money is going, and with automated tracking and clear projections, you're on your way to hitting that financial milestone. Monarch even lets you share an account with your partner at no extra charge, and it's helped users save over $200 per month on average after joining. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. It's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY. All right, welcome back, and it's time for tonight's Game Changer, driven by Elkin Chevrolet. Elkin Chevy, together, let's drive. Listen, there was a couple of guys who had pretty decent performances tonight, some clutch goals, I guess you could say, but who else could it be? Number 20, Alex Bump, scoring in his NHL debut, the long-awaited debut of Alex Bump. We all remember last year, after he wins the national championship, he chooses to go the ATO route, goes to the AHL, gets some experience there, then does not make this team out of camp, begins the year with the Phantoms, comes up tonight, plays over 16 minutes, scores a goal in his debut, ties the game in the second period. That was an awesome moment, Charlie, with friends and family in the crowd all wearing the official Bump Hype Crew shirts. You saw some Penguins fans congratulating them because, honestly, Of course, who cares? That's bigger than tonight's game for both teams. Quite, quite seriously, I don't think anyone in any Penguins fan is deluded enough to think they're like a Stanley Cup contender this year, despite them holding a playoff spot. What a debut for Alex Bump, scoring, and his line with Dvorak and Grebenkin, Charlie. Through 40 minutes, they had like a 69% expected goals percentage. They end the game as the only regular line at 5-on-5, over 50% expected goals. The only line that outshot and out-attempted their opponent on the ice tonight. You get a little bump, pun intended, when it's your debut and all that, but damn, he looked like he belonged tonight.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to stop talking so I could say he looked like he belonged, and then you transitioned to me just by saying he looked like he belonged, because I thought that was the best way to describe it. He just looked like an NHL player. He made things happen. He ends up finishing with 7 shot attempts, which led the Flyers. So he was creating shots.
Good.
Now, got to do a better job of getting some of those shots on net. Now, a couple of them, though, like he had that one where that was a shot on goal. I'm sorry. That was insane.
100%.
The goaltender caught the puck like in the center of his body, and they're like, oh no, it was going high. Truly insane stuff, but does need to do a better job of getting shots actually on goal in this insane NHL tracking era that we're in. Do a better job. Just, put them on net. Maybe get a better chance for rebounds, or you get a better chance for a goalie missing it. But I liked what I saw from Bump. He had a couple nice back checks for some turnovers.
Yeah.
The thing with Bump, look, we know the shot is really good. He showed it on his goal. He can rip it. But the thing with Bump that was an issue in preseason and camp, and it's why he didn't make the team. Number one, he was trying too often to just carry the puck on his own into the slot, and he was getting blown up. He was getting killed. Number two, the puck finds him. Like, he clearly has good hockey sense. He knows where to be to get the puck, and that's good. That's a really, really positive trait. But what was happening in preseason was he would get the puck, and then he would immediately get stripped of the puck. Either he would turn it over, or we just get knocked away from him and then just like skitter into the corner. I thought he was doing a much better job in this game, and I've heard that he's done a much better job as the AHL season has progressed, his first full professional season, at protecting the puck and or making quicker decisions with it. Because look, like, you're playing against NHL players. They're going to knock the puck off of you if you try to hold it for too long. But what you need to do sometimes is just don't try to hold it for that long. Keep it moving. Get it to an open teammate. Then put yourself in a position to get the puck when they pass it back to you, just to keep the flow of the game going. I thought in preseason he was trying maybe to do it a little bit too much himself. I thought in this game he was playing a much more, team and line-oriented game. And as you saw in the goal, he can still shoot it if you get him the puck. It's just that he doesn't have to have the puck on his stick all the time. I liked his style of play. I thought he didn't look out of place from a skating standpoint by any means. And obviously, kid can rip it. Yeah, I really liked Alex Bump's game. I thought he was strong tonight.
Yeah, good goal scorer's goal, gets that feed from Grebenkin, changes the shooting lane a little bit, rips it in for the first of his career, helped start the play that set up another chance for Grebenkin with Dvorak in front. I thought they were really good together, that trio. Listen, that's a good third line from what I can see. Like, that's a line you put out there like, oh, that's a third line with some upside. Now, filling out the first two, that's kind of Danny Briere's job over this coming summer and the next few seasons. But I like what I saw out of that group tonight. I will say in overtime, Charlie, at first I liked what I saw in the 3-on-3 out of Bump. He gets the puck near the top, nothing there. He doesn't panic. He doesn't force it. He brings it out. They reset. Then he takes it deep. I like the aggressiveness. Gets turned over in the corner. Didn't have a ton of help or a passing lane. In the defensive zone, it's very clear he has not practiced with the team yet.
Yes.
He had no idea where to go.
No, there was one play in the 3-on-3 where it was very clear there was supposed to be a switch, and he just stayed on the guy that his teammate covered. And it's like, okay, it's 2-on-1. Somebody's got to go cover the other guy. Now, it didn't end up killing the Flyers, but look, he's got some rough edges. There was also a play in I think it was in the second period, and it was Michkov had a really good chance in transition. And if you as soon as it happened, I was like, that almost certainly was Bump's guy. Then they show reverse view, and Bump was about 2 strides behind him on the back check. Michkov gets a really good shot. Vladar makes the save. But that's just an example of, in the NHL, you can't have any lapses. You can't have any parts of the game where you just stop thinking. You got to always be moving your feet. You got to always be checking, who's coming from behind, who's in front of you, because otherwise you're going to get burned on the, on the back check, and teams are going to beat you back up ice. So there are absolutely some rough edges, but there should be. I mean, the guy's 22 years old. It was his first NHL game. I'm not expecting him to be perfect defensively. What I want to see is I want to see a guy, especially if he's going to be, as they hope, a top 9 NHL forward. Now, maybe he can be a top 6 forward. I don't know. But they want him to at least be a guy who's on one of the top 3 lines. If he's going to be that, he has to be making an impact. He has to be noticeable on the ice. He can't just look like just a guy. And I did not think at any time in this game he looked like just a guy. He was noticeable on almost every single one of his shifts. And look, yeah, there's an adrenaline factor in your first game, to be sure. But it's better than the alternative of him not being noticeable in his first game.
Charlie, in the nearly, 60-year history of the Philadelphia Flyers, 26 players have scored in their debut in the NHL. But in the 21 seasons since the lockout, since 05-06, he's on a short list here. We have this graphic of the guys who have
this
scored
list
in their...
is incredible. This is some prime remembering some guys stuff.
It really is, because okay, man, let's go back to the first year out of the lockout. Mike Richards, first round pick, him and Jeff Carter come straight from juniors, win the Calder Cup. Next year they're on the team. Richards scores in his debut. Great. And then you basically look at the rest of the list.
Morgan Frost is a good NHL player. He's fine.
I wasn't going to rip Morgan Frost.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Just in terms of, maybe our narrative about him, a disappointment or a guy I just couldn't wait to get rid of because I was sick of talking about him. But like David Laliberte, Harry Z, Jason Akeson, Morgan Frost, Hayden Hodgson.
Hodgson. That one, Bill, that one brought back memories. I remember with Hayden Hodgson, there were 2 reasons why the Flyers decided they were real high on Hayden Hodgson. Number 1, Ian LaPerriere loved the guy. He just thought Hayden Hodgson was the bee's knees, and he wanted nothing more than Hayden Hodgson to have a long NHL career. Number 2, and I'm convinced of this. No one in the organization has told me this, but I am 100% convinced this was part of it. That was the year that Tanner Jeannot came out of nowhere and became this, he was scoring goals, he was winning fights, he had come from the ECHL, and I really think the Flyers as an organization were like, he's our Tanner Jeannot. We're going to get our version of him. And then Kurt from BSH, a friend of the pod, on Blue Sky, he posted it. It made me laugh because I totally forgot about this. The next year was the year that Torts took over. It was his first year. And the Flyers organization was still riding the Hayden Hodgson train. They're like, this guy's going to be an NHL player. He's going to be a good player. And all throughout camp, Torts was kind of like, yeah, I don't really see it, but the guys up top say he's an impressive player, so I'm giving him a look. He makes the team almost entirely because of the front office wanting him to get a shot. And Torts played him 1 game. And he's like, this dude don't got it. I don't know what the heck you guys are seeing up there.
So he has a goal and assist his first season in 21-22. The next year, he plays 1 game against the Devils, probably the opener. It was October 13th, so there's a good chance that was the opener.
Something like that.
Plays 4 minutes and 46 seconds. The end.
Yeah, Torts is like, I seen enough of this guy. He ain't good. But that was, we forget. It's funny. Now I feel like Torts the Torts era is getting retconned to being good because people hate Tocchet so much. But by the end, it was hard for people to remember because people were so angry with Torts. It was hard for people to remember that first year, he was like the emperor has no clothes guy. The one guy saying he's naked. What are you guys talking about? The entire organization was like, no, we don't need to rebuild. Everything's great. And Torts within a week comes in and is like, this team sucks. What the hell are you guys think that you can win games? They're awful. And it was like, thank you. Someone who actually can see what's going on here.
You got it. The second they start telling him Hayden Hodgson, he's got to be like, why did I take this job? I thought we were, but yeah, it's a funny list. There's a lot of names in there that you're like, oh, and then we never heard from them again. Hayden Hodgson, chief among them, but congrats to Alex Bump scoring in his debut tonight. What a really cool moment. And hopefully it's the first of a whole lot, because I think JJ said it on the broadcast tonight, Charlie. You need, yeah, man. You get these guys, Michkov, Martone, you have Konechny, you trade for Tippett. Like, you need those first round pick talents, high draft picks, or veterans who've really made something of themselves. You need them. But you got to get lucky. You got to get lucky with a few mid and later round guys, and a fifth round pick turning out for you to be a top 9 or maybe one day a top 6 forward. That's getting lucky. You can scout all you want. You took him in the 5th. If you thought he was a first-line caliber player, you take him in the 1st. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is on the road to, all right, and we found one of them. If we can find the, trade for a Grebenkin along with a first-liner, or along with a first-round pick, and you draft Bump and he comes along, like, this is what you need to take the next step, not just the Michkovs and Martones.
Yeah, and the Flyers have a couple other pieces that, could be remembered down the road as guys that were draft steals. I mean, Bump, if he pans out, 5th round pick, man, if you even get a middle sixer out of a 5th round pick, you're feeling pretty good. Denver Barkey's a 3rd round pick. He looks like a player. Igor Zavragin, we ranked as the 2nd best prospect in the organization. Now, I know he's not here yet, so it's hard to get excited about a guy who isn't here, but like another 3rd round pick, this team could have unearthed. It's possible they already have unearthed really good picks in this draft. It's just they're not, like, they haven't borne fruit yet. So it's hard to be like, man, they've done such a good job of drafting when, like, we just don't know. But I do think early returns are good that they've stumbled upon or unearthed, depending upon how much credit you want to give them. They found guys in later rounds because basically once you get past the 2nd round, like maybe the 3rd, but once you get past the 2nd round, it's like you're just throwing darts. Yeah. And the Flyers, it seems like, may have found some guys who look like players. Now, they haven't found like a Connor Hellebuck or a Braden Point, who's like a star that wasn't taken in the first 2 rounds. But they're finding pretty good players, it seems like. And I guess you just have to hope that they keep finding them.
Drafting guys like this will keep you out of cap trouble because they'll always be cheaper until they sign, like, if Bump becomes a 35-goal scorer, like, sure, okay, now we have to give him the big contract, but for the first 6 years of their career, they will always be cheaper because of the pedigree. It's just one of those things that helps you put a team together. Maybe they found one of these guys in Bump, and listen, they score 3 tonight in regulation, 2 of them off the sticks of guys you mentioned, mid-round picks, Barkey and Bump. My question is, are there any more guys we can call up? Can we get Porter Martone to drop out of school? Because I think our 2 best skaters tonight were dudes who have been called up in the last 3 months.
You might be right. And it's an interesting question as to who else they'll call up. I think, Juracek's going to get a call up at some point this year. Probably not till later, not till he gets some time in the AHL with the Phantoms under the tutelage of the development coach. But I think he'll get some games. Oliver Bond could get some games. So he's another possible. Bump was really the last guy, though, where you're looking at it, you're like, he deserves to get a call before the end of the season, especially over these last couple of weeks when he's really gotten the offense going. But I think there might be a few more call-ups in the future. And then there's Porter Martone. And, it's kind of one of those things where, do you root for him to win the national championship? Because I really want him to, and it would be a great achievement, and it certainly would do nothing to slow down the hype train if he leads the team to a national title. But on the other side, if they were to get upset in the first round of the NCAA tournament, not even make it to the Frozen Four, like, we might get 2.5 weeks of
it. Yeah. I want guys with a little bit of winning pedigree because, like, listen, no one here's won anything. If you've been on the team for more than a few years, you've never even been to the playoffs. Guys who have been through it and won something and know what it takes and at least have had taste of it and won it back. But I'm torn. I think Kelly brought this up the other day, and then we'll go to a break, Charlie. What if, they lose in the regionals or even the semifinal to get to the national championship, and suddenly it's that Wade Allison, like, if we can just get the boys together one more year,
no chance.
Like,
no chance.
I don't think that's going to happen. Like, their other best player, he's in his 3rd or 4th year anyway, so, like, he ain't staying. Porter Martone's going to be a pro, just on how soon you want to see him. I think I'm rooting for them, but I'm not going to cry if they get eliminated early. That's what I'm going to say.
Fair.
All right. On the other side, we are going to talk about a couple others Flyers youngsters who contributed tonight. We're going to talk about Charlie's trade deadline piece up on allphly.com as well. Stay tuned for that, but we got to take our second break. Have you ever had one of those days where you're moving nonstop and suddenly you realize you forgot to eat? Believe it or not, it's happened to me, and that's why I've been loving what Wawa is doing right now. Wawa now has $5 deals all day, and honestly, it just makes life that much easier. If you're starting early, you can grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking a sizzly, we're talking a hash brown, and any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling with a roasted chicken sandwich or crispy chicken sandwich created your way starting at $5. And they've even got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's real food, real value, and built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking. Just swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong and fuel up whatever you need with Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. Gotta have a Wawa. All right, it's time to talk about Elkin Chevrolet, because Elkin Chevrolet is run by three brothers. They're real brothers, local guys, and they are big Flyers fans. So if nothing else, you know that they're loyal. And right now they're putting on a President's Day sales event, and the deals are bigger and better than ever. If you need a truck, they've got you. If you're looking for an SUV, they have that too. Every vehicle comes with the kind of service that makes you feel like part of the Elkins family. But do not wait. These President's Day deals are only here for a short time. So swing by Elkin Chevrolet on Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey, and get in on the deals that are just plain honkin' good. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of that honkin' good service. Elkin Chevy, together let's drive, and together let's go Flyers. I love that one. All right. We have to talk about Michkov and Barkey together tonight, Charlie. They combined to score a goal in the second period. They nearly get a second on kind of a similar play on the power play, but Barkey shuffles it just wide. Barkey has 11 points in 27 games with the Flyers after his goal tonight. Michkov has a point on the same goal on 5 of them. They have decent chemistry considering they haven't spent like a whole lot of regular shifts together. We've seen them on the power play together a bit, but I really like the two of these guys together. Now, if you had a center with some speed and size, that would make them probably more of an attractive duo to go to regularly. But right now, I think this is one of your best options to put these two guys together, especially if you're going to have Mish on the right wing.
Oh, yeah. No, these guys clearly have something going. I mentioned it on pregame. It seems like they also legitimately like each other. You know, they were doing some fun little videos that presumably they recorded before the Olympic break, but they aired them on social media during the Olympic break. So it seems like they legitimately have some off ice chemistry as well. But on ice, it just seems like. And look, we know that Michkov thinks the game at an extremely high level in the offensive zone. He's kind of like he just processes the game at a speed where he just kind of sees everything. We haven't seen it as much this year, I think, because maybe there's been a little bit of a confidence decline on his part, but you still see it enough that it's not gone. Denver Barkey does not think the game at that creative of a level, but he does have very high hockey IQ. I would argue that Barkey's hockey IQ in the other two zones might be better than Michkov's. It's not as good as Michkov's in the offensive zone, but you put them together in the offensive zone. And like Barkey might be one of the few guys on this team that maybe thinks the game close to the way that Michkov does. Because it's not like there aren't other guys on this team that have good hockey IQ, but maybe Barkey thinks the game well. Like there was somebody on one of the social media channels made this joke and it made me laugh because it's like, oh, I remember that like really fun, bad movie. Bill, did you ever see the movie Pacific Rim?
I don't think so. No,
it's like a big like weaponized robot movie where they fight like aliens that are kind of Godzilla-ish, and the whole idea is like The only way
I
you,
remember. I definitely remember the previews. Yeah.
The only way you can operate these machines is with two people, and the two people have to like combine to move and attack with this robot, and you are drift compatible. And it's like these two people have to be on the same wavelength mentally and have to like think in similar patterns for them to be drift compatible. And somebody made the joke that looks like Barkey and Michkov are drift compatible. I'm like, I kind of love that. It's kind of great. They might be drift compatible.
That line with Noah Cates played the most together at 5-on-5 tonight. They got out attempted 9-7, goals 4. They win that 1-0. The XGF is only 40%, but like whatever. I don't care. High danger chances 3-2. So the Flyers win that one with those two on the ice together. The stat I love. While Trevor Zegras ended up with 2 shots on goal, one of them was in overtime. Through 60 minutes, one Flyers forward had more than one shot. It was Denver Barkey. Keep these guys together. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I want to make a point here because I feel like some people misinterpret this. When I talk about a movie being bad, I'm saying that lovingly usually. I love bad movies. I love utterly ridiculous movies. And that is one of those like bad movies that is great because it's so dumb and bad.
What was that ridiculous action movie you had me watch when we were doing movies and albums during the pandemic?
Shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up?
Amazingly great bad movie. Clive Owen just killing people like left and right while eating carrots.
With a banana or something. Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Just like this Flyers team. Maybe that's why we love this stuff, Charlie. It's just absolute ridiculousness. All right. It is now time for the big takeaway. It is presented by Xfinity. And while we probably have a couple more things to talk about with tonight's game, the big takeaway is what transpired yesterday at the trade deadline. Yes, they move out a winger in Bobby Brink, send him home, and get David Jiricek in return. They make an AHL swap. They send out Nick Delorier for maybe a 7th-round pick a year from now. Maybe
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not.
They might have just given him away for free.
They basically did.
Whatever. I mean, like, yeah, a 2027 7th, that doesn't have a ton more value than nothing in my mind. I guess it exists, but does it?
Remember when they had that run where they were consistently trading their 7th-round pick to Montreal every year? That was a fantastic bit.
That's Steve made me say a story that I've told him before. I heard Brian Burke talk about the draft a few months ago, and he's like, I would just be sitting at that table, and my scouts would be arguing with each other about the 7th-round pick. And I'd go, guys, guess what? I just traded it because I can't listen to this anymore. This is a waste of my time. We're going to the bar. Like he would always try to trade it away because he couldn't listen to it. Anyway, this is the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. And it is Charlie's trade deadline article available to diehards on allphly.com. If you're not one, what the hell are you doing? Go become one. But you basically broke down the timeline of the Rasmus Ristolainen trade not happening and all Danny's comments about it. First and foremost, we talked a lot about what the price was. Danny has a price. Do we know for a fact what it was?
Yeah. And this is what I was doing most of yesterday, after the trade deadline ended, especially, but also during the, while the trade deadline was still active. Was just trying to figure out what the heck was going on, what the Flyers were asking for, who was interested in, in Ristolainen primarily, and just how it all went down, especially after they didn't ultimately trade him. So what I had heard, and I actually reported this the morning of the trade deadline because I heard it the night before. What I had heard it was basically from the Buffalo negotiations that the ask was to Buffalo, because Buffalo and Detroit, what I've been able to gather, they were the two teams that were the closest to getting Ristolainen. The ask from Buffalo was a 1st-round pick, a solid enough prospect, not a blue chipper, but a solid enough prospect, and then a mid-round pick if the Flyers retain salary on Ristolainen. Now, if they were able to just dump the entire salary on the other team, then sure, just a 1st and a mid-round, at 1st and a prospect. But if you want us to retain, you're going to have to throw in a mid-rounder. That was the ask, and I don't think the Flyers really ever budged from that ask. It's a big ask, especially for a guy who has serious injury issues. Their view was that's what Brandon Carlo brought back last year, and they think Ristolainen was just as good as Brandon Carlo, and they felt like asking for anything less, in their mind, was underrating what Ristolainen's value should be. Now, Obviously, the market disagreed because nobody paid it, but that was the ask.
So Detroit basically chose between Falk and Risto, and they went with the older, more expensive guy.
Yes.
We can debate who the better player is, but honestly, you're looking for a good right-handed big defenseman. You know what you're getting. Why? Why was the choice Justin Falk?
Yeah, this was something that I was really trying to figure out after the deadline. Not why was the choice Justin Falk, because the choice was Justin Falk basically, and I know this for a fact because Steve Yzerman liked Justin Falk at the end of the day more than Rasmus Ristolainen. I've heard that there were scouts in that room. You know, there were people in the Detroit front office who were pushing for Risto, but ultimately Yzerman liked Falk more, and that's why he took that offer. What I was wondering in the wake of the deadline, I actually asked Danny Briere this on the record in the post-deadline presser, was there ever a first-round pick on the table? And basically what the question was trying to get at was specifically getting at Detroit. Because my question was basically like, okay, was this a case of you had an ask for Risto, Detroit wouldn't match it, and then they went and took the Falk offer as a fallback? So, like, you were asking for more from Detroit than what they ultimately gave up for Falk, which was a first, a prospect, and a third-round pick, in addition to taking on the remainder of Justin Hull's salary. So I was like, did you miss the boat because you asked for too much? Or was Detroit never high enough on Risto to offer the package they offered for Falk? I got it confirmed yesterday evening, maybe like 3 or 4 hours after the deadline, that the Red Wings never had a first-round pick on the table for Ristolainen. It was never offered. It was never offered. I think probably what happened, and Elliot Friedman more or less, said this in his post-deadline comments. They knew what they were going to have. They, as in Detroit, knew that they were going to have to pay a first-round pick, a mid-round pick, and a prospect for either Falk or Ristolainen. They went down to the wire, and then with 20 minutes left before the deadline, they're like, okay, who would we rather give up that cost for? And they decided they're gonna give it up for Falk. They called back the Blues and are like, all right, we'll do it. I do not think that the Flyers, I don't think that Danny asked for too much. He asked for the same that Detroit ended up paying for Falk. It was just that ultimately Detroit was between two guys and they picked Falk over Ristolainen, and that stinks. And you can say to yourself, well, if Danny would have been willing to, but it would have said, all right, let's say he calls up Steve Yzerman at 220 and he's like, all right, I cave. If you give me a second round pick and a prospect, I'll send you Risto. Yeah, maybe then they pick Risto. But this was not a case of Danny turned down a first round pick from Detroit, and that's why he missed the boat. It was basically the cost for both of those guys was exactly the same, and ultimately Yzerman liked Falk more.
So where we are left now is Rasmus Ristolainen is still here, and he has another year left on his deal. Jamie Drysdale is a right-handed defenseman. Oliver Bonk in the AHL, a first-round pick, right-handed defenseman. They trade for Jiricek. He is right-handed. How do they make this room now?
Ooh, very good question. And what I was able to put together last night is that expect at least one, if not two, defensemen move this offseason. Now, Ristolainen certainly could be one of them. They had a lot of conversations with teams at the deadline about him. Maybe one of those teams steps up. Maybe a new team steps up in the offseason and either pays what Danny wanted at the deadline or pays a little bit less, but maybe Danny's more willing to take it in the offseason as opposed to where it was in the deadline. But it doesn't have to be Ristolainen. One thing that a source reminded me yesterday, Nick Seeler's no trade protection does
July 1st.
End on July 1st. And what I've heard, there were quite a few teams that are calling on Seeler. Now, I don't think the Flyers are itching to trade him, but they know there are teams that want him, so he's an option to be moved. I've also heard that Emil Andre, look, it's not a lock he's going to get traded by any means, but the Flyers aren't ecstatic about this guy. It would not shock me if he gets moved in the offseason. I would say they have to move at least one of those three, maybe even two of those three, but Jiricek's making this team next year. Now, I don't know how many games he's going to play this season, but next season, he's no longer waiver exempt. They can't send him down to the minors, and they know he needs to play. Well, they can send him down to the minors if he clears waivers, but he ain't clearing waivers. Somebody would claim him. So he's making the team next year, and he's almost certainly going to be playing third pair right-handed defenseman, which means they need to clear a spot somewhere. Now, it doesn't have to be a righty shot. They could always move Sanheim back over to the right. They could juggle things, whatever. Trading Ristolainen would be the easiest way because he is a righty shot. And then you just, I don't know, move Sealer up to the top 4 until one of the young guys proves they can take it and then go from there. But somebody's going to have to move. At least one guy's going to have to be moved that is under contract or under team control to fit Jiricek next year, because Jiricek's on this team next year. That's happening.
He is waiver exempt.
He's waiver exempt now. He won't be waiver exempt next season.
That's what I meant. He is not waiver exempt as of next season. Thank you for clearing that up. Just real quick before the break, Emil Andre, in terms of what this team thinks about him, Charlie. Now, listen, there were a ton of penalties, especially late in this game. Pittsburgh had 6 power plays. The Flyers had 2. So there's a lot of special teams time. But Emil Andre played 7.5 minutes tonight.
Ooh, I did not notice that.
Yeah. They don't like playing him all that much. So I got to believe no matter, if they didn't trade for Jiricek, if Bonk wasn't about to make the team, all this, they might still probably be moving Emil Andre because, I think they've seen all they need to see. And I can't really argue with that. I think he could turn into a good NHL player. I think we've seen that he's not a special NHL player. And if you can't find another Emil Andre, I don't know what the hell you're doing. All right, Coming up on the other side, we still got to hit tonight's Unsung Hero. We have Charlie's 3 stars and all your super chats, but we have one more break. Sit through it and we'll be back. Let me tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free. It's Evans Pest Control. This isn't some giant national chain. They're a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of our neighborhoods for years. Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatment options, and their techs go through continuous training so they're equipped to handle anything. We're talking rodents, we're talking insects, termites, and even bed bugs. They offer priority services and consultations, which is huge when you have a problem with pests. Everyone in Philly knows pests don't knock, they just show up. So if you see signs of pests or just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com. Kick those pests out with Evans Pest Control. It's time to make your home work smarter, not harder, with TrueMark. Because with a TrueMark Financial Home Equity line of credit, you can tap in your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever's next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your timeline. You start with a revolving line of credit, use only what you need, and when you're ready, you can lock in all or part of your balance at a fixed rate for predictable payments. You only pay interest on what you use, and as you pay it back, that credit becomes available again. No reapplying, no extra steps. And with competitive rates compared to most unsecured loans and flexible repayment options, this could be a smart move for your home and your wallet. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branch locations to get started. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938. And remember, let's go Flyers! All right, welcome back. We got to hit tonight's Unsung Hero presented by Togo. Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute. Togo! And I am going to give this to Trevor Zegras, mostly because I just want to talk about Trevor Zegras. I don't know how else to do it with the limited time we have remaining. But Zegras played center tonight and went 1 for 9 on faceoffs. He's basically the only Flyer that lost any faceoffs. They were at 55% tonight. But he still is struggling to do that. But he does get a primary assist on Tippett's game-tying goal in the first period. He wins it for them in the shootout with another dazzling move. His assist in the first, Charlie, his 30th of the season. And I wanted to point this out because I went through I went back basically in this during this down period of missing the playoffs for what will probably be a 6th straight year, went back to 2020-21. Flyers with 30-plus assists in a season. TK has done it 5 times, including this year. Michkov did it last year. Hayes did it in 22-23. Voracek did it in that 2021 season. Sanheim has one. D'Angelo has one. Coots actually did it last year as well. But that's it. Those are the guys with 30 or more assists. And with, 20 games remaining in the season, Trevor Zegras has hit that total. It has been a successful first year here. Now, we will see if he can figure out center. We will see if he can get back closer to that point-a-game pace he was on through the first 41 games. But rousing success for Trevor Zegras here in his first 62 games as a Philadelphia Flyer. I would say 30 assists, and I think he's at 20 goals, maybe 19.
Bill, I don't even want to talk about the assist, man. I just want to talk about him in shootouts because I swear to God, like when he scored that goal, I just laughed. I literally just laughed. I burst out laughing because it's funny. Like goalies have no chance against this guy in shootouts. It's automatic. It is crazy how good he is at shootouts. Look, I don't know if he's ever going to play center. Yesterday when we were talking to Danny Briere, he kind of gave away the game a little bit when he was talking about, like, well, we had to trade Bobby Brink because of the winger logjam we have. And then he mentioned Trevor Zegras as a winger. Somebody then asked him about that placement later in the conference. And Briere basically was like, look, he's been better at wing this year. I don't know what to tell you. And he played center tonight. Mostly, I would say he was okay. He has the really good pass. I wouldn't say that line controlled play well, but look, he can play center, and I'd like to see them try to develop him at center the rest of the year, see if you can make him into that guy, maybe make him into a 2C. But I do think that he might be better on the wing. Like he just might get more offense out of him on the wing, and that's not the end of the world. If he's a point per game winger next year, the year after that, and that's what he becomes, that's awesome.
I did want to talk about special teams a little, but we're running short on time. So the only note I'm going to have is tonight, the Flyers gave up a breakaway as a power play was ending. It wasn't even the guy out of the box. The power play hadn't quite ended yet. There was like 5 seconds left. And guess who wasn't on the ice, Charlie? The guys who can't play together because that might happen. But you know who was? Noah Cates, the responsible guy. I'm not throwing any shade at Noah Cates. I'm just saying maybe play the good players together and good stuff will happen. That's just my opinion, though. Who am I? All right. It's time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Charlie, we have, listen, even though they only had like 8 shots on goal, 3 goals and a shootout win, so you have some guys to choose from. Who is star number 3?
Yeah, I guess star number 3, I'll throw this one to Trevor Zegras. He has the really, really nice pass on the goal earlier in the game. Catches that puck, which was really cool. He catches the puck, sets it down, and then finds Owen Tippett for his 20th goal of the season. And then he wins the game in the shootout because he's automatic in that skills competition. I don't think Trevor Zegras had a perfect game, but he came through with big plays when it mattered. So Trevor Zegras, 3rd star.
He's like over 60%. I can't believe there's 35 or 40% of the time he doesn't score in the shootout, quite honestly. Who is star number 2?
Yeah, star number 2, I'm going with Denver Barkey. I thought he was good in this game. I thought he made plays. Yeah. He scores a goal. He nearly scores another goal. He was popping in this game. I'm not. This isn't meant to denigrate Michkov. I thought Michkov made some plays, but I thought Barkey had the more consistent game. I thought he was more consistently impactful. He was better on a shift by shift basis. Michkov had some really good shifts, and I like the fact that he's back at right wing. Give him some runway there. See what can happen. Definitely, though, give him runway with Denver Barkey because there's chemistry there. And I liked Barkey's overall game tonight more than I liked Michkov's overall game. Plus, Barkey got a goal. Michkov got an assist. Goals are better than assists. They're just shinier. So Barkey gets 2nd star honors.
Well, then who could possibly be tonight's 1st star?
Yeah, it's Alex Bump. He scored a goal in his first NHL game, and it was a really nice goal. It's obviously Alex Bump. It's funny, like Dan Vladar made some big saves in the shootout, especially. I thought for the first maybe like 35 minutes of this game, he did not look comfortable. He made there were a few shots, 2 goals, in fact, that I think he won it back. Look, if this is if this is underwhelming Dan Vladar, I'll take it because he came through in a big way in the overtime and obviously in the shootout. But usually it's like an easy thing to be like, yeah, just give Dan Vladar the first star. It was kind of a boring game. Not much happened. I didn't think he played well enough to deserve any star honors in this game. Alex Bump, though, come on. Kid in his very first game in a hostile environment, has his entire family there and comes through with a goal on it wasn't a fluky goal either. It was a snipe of a shot.
Good goal.
And I thought he was noticeable. Look, again, he wasn't perfect. He made mistakes, especially defensively, but it's tough to play your first game. It's tough when you've never gotten a real taste of NHL action and to look as good as he did. And I thought he looked really good. So Alex Bump, you know what, bud? First star.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully one of many more to come.
If you didn't make him first star, I would have tried to override it. One note on Vladar here. He allowed more than 2 goals for only the 12th time in 37 starts and 38 overall appearances. It's his first time allowing more than 2 since January 31st. He'd gone 6 straight. Sometimes you don't have your A game, but hey, no goals given up in the shootout. He was strong for the second half of the game. I will take that as his, he wasn't great tonight, you know? Yeah. All right, let's get to those super chats. I think we have a few of them to get to here tonight as we go to wrap up the show. The first one here, as we await it to come up on the screen. I'm going to guess it's from J. Oh, I was JH! I was going to guess JH. JH says, who could have known playing Michkov on his natural side would be good for the team? I have more thoughts about Rick, but I want you to keep your show. Listen, I know everyone has thoughts about Rick Tocchet. I'm not getting into it tonight because Alex Bump scored. Michkov and Barkey look good together. They beat the Penguins. Let's just enjoy for a few minutes. You know, like that's my thoughts on Rick Tocchet tonight. And listen, he's doing what we wanted him to do. Mish played like over 16 minutes again. It's hard to argue. All right, next one here is and Michkov played in the in overtime as well. Next one is Alex Biscardi. The most boring season is going to result in the 14th pick. This team will be stuck in purgatory forever and never get a 1C. They were never going to draft their 1C.
Look, they might never get a 1C. I can't predict the future, but I disagree with the framing of like getting the 14th pick is the worst possible outcome. Like they will have improved this season. They have a top 5 prospect in the NHL joining the team for next season. They have a lot of young guys, namely Matvei Michkov, who I expect to get better next season. So improving from the 4th worst record in hockey to the 14th worst record in hockey is an improvement. And then you're banking on them improving more next year. Like, I don't think just because they finish with the 14th worst record in hockey this year, if that's where they end up, means they're going to be there forever. I think there is a significant runway for this team to get better next year and beyond. But obviously, they're going to need to make a big trade or two to address the center position because it is rough. Everyone knows that. It just comes down to whether they can do it.
And this is a thing, I don't know. There's this thing, we're always drafting 11th. We're always drafting 14th. Cutter was 5th. Michkov was 7th. Then, yes, they were at 12, traded down to 13 and took Jet. And then Martone was 6th. I don't know. Like, how long do you want this to go for? Because I don't want it to go 10 years. All right, but thank you, Alex. Appreciate your comment tonight. The next one here is from J.E. Frucione joins us. Guys, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat, but is it my imagination or did number 39 already look more creative on the right side than he has all season on the left? He could have easily had multiple points tonight.
Bill, did you think he looked that good? Like, I thought he was fine, and the pass that he makes to set up Barkey, great pass. That's obviously on the right side, but like, I don't know. I didn't see a guy who was like incredible.
This was not one of those games like we had a lot last year where it was, yeah, he had an assist and it could have easily been a 3-point night. Now, he does set up Barkey with another one. He could have had more points tonight, but I don't think he stood out. But I struggle with, was it because he's on the right side or because he's just with freaking Denver Barkey and they're a good duo together? Like, the right thing does make a difference. I don't know how much, but it does make a difference. But I do just think he's been a little bit more confident, and he's with a guy he's got chemistry with. And with that, I have to trigger overtime. Thank you all for watching to this point. If you want to finish the show, you got to go to allphly.com to wrap up tonight. If you are watching on Xfinity, Roku, or Samsung. Before we wrap up, though, we do have a few more. At least one more super chat to get to. This one is from Stuart Middle. Says Stuart Miller, not Stuart Little. Stuart Miller says, question for Bill: is D'Lo accidentally taking the goalie?
Okay. So Bill, you don't understand the background here because you haven't been following social media because you've been doing your job. Basically, what Stewart is getting at is apparently Nick Delorier had the goalie mask in the locker room in the final game, and they had to use a makeshift mask in the locker room after this game because I guess Delorier accidentally took it with him to Carolina.
All right, so there was a storyline in 2011 where CM Punk won the belt and his contract was up and he left through the crowd with it and he's like, he's never coming back. So that is very funny.
Okay.
I gotta believe that it's a Bernie mask. It can't belong to him, right? They gotta get it back.
I mean, my guess is if they don't have it, it's because they forgot. And then he'll just send it back, or the next time they're pass cross or whatever. I can't imagine it was intentional.
I know that it's the guy who had it last gives it to the next guy, but I just assumed that was an equipment staff thing. You didn't travel with it. You didn't bring it with you. It was actually the equipment manager who has it, and then he puts it in your locker to maybe hand out if you win the next game. That was just my guess, but who the hell knows? Maybe it's hockey. They tape their own sticks, so maybe they actually bring the
or maybe it's in Delorier's locker, and it's just that everybody is used to taking it with them on the trip, and because Delorier isn't on the team, he wasn't there to bring it with him, and it's just sitting in Voorhees.
And we know they were kind of in a rush. You said Danny wanted to get in and out of that presser the other day after the trade deadline because they were flying to Pittsburgh right after, so maybe it was just an oversight. Who the hell knows? I like that this was the longest conversation of a super chat. I believe that is it. Do we have any more, Lindsay? No, that is all the super chats we have for you tonight. So
we got one more. One more.
Timbo Slice weighs in. Why not us? Trevor Zegras once again proving he's the best player in the shootout. 6 for 9 on the season. Nice. That's insane, says Vladar Vezina, Michkov Mania. Listen, I know not all of us want them to win every game, but we kind of got what we wanted tonight, right? Got cool play from Zegras to set up a goal. Michkov to Barkey, bump scores. Zegras in the shootout. All good stuff. So I have very little to hate about tonight's game. All right, and I believe that is it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. We'll be back Monday with pre- and postgame. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Lindsay. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.